Good morning from Takiab. Nice day today here. It's cloudy. Temperature is decent. So I decided to go for a walk. And I'll take you with me. The other day I was on the phone and was talking to family members in the United States. We flip this around so you can check out the scenery. Just old Takiab. Day-to-day life's pretty uneventful. I do go on trips and stuff. You don't get to go with me because I don't do this for money. And excuse me. And a lot of times, just even taking photographs and stuff for me takes away from the experience of where I'm at and being in the moment. And it turns into more about the documentation process. And I just don't want to do that. I don't make money from this. I don't care to make money from this. It's just not what I'm doing. But as I mentioned that, I will talk about some people that do make money off of this and what's become of the whole YouTube genre. Couple hours there'll be chicken here. It's early in the morning now. The restaurant is still setting up. YouTube is basically just television anymore. And there is value to it. The value part of it is anything you want to learn, any topic you want to listen to about is available. You just have to be careful about the source. But for learning things like how to do X, Y, Z, how to build this, how to find edible plants or whatever, YouTube's fantastic. Great venue. Working out, diet, exercise, all this kind of stuff. But you do have to be careful. As far as the opinion genre, which apparently gets a lot of views, it makes these people money. Especially the genre, anti-American genre. That's huge. And has a huge audience, big population, but you gotta be careful. You gotta take into perspective who's telling it to you. Where's this information coming from? So I watch a few of these cats, and the conclusion is they're just like the talking heads on television that you're trying to get away from. You've just replaced YouTube or television with YouTube. That's all. And if I say the wrong thing, if I let my opinion slip on a certain subject, YouTube will take that off. There's no more freedom on this. These cats that make money, they're super careful about the words they use, what topics they talk about. They don't even DEATH, death. Who knows? That might get the AI might take my video down. But these dudes have created new language, like they say unalived. And it's gotten to the point where it's ridiculous, and they're capitalizing on it. Some of you send them money, but even just watching them, maybe you don't see the irony in the people that make these anti-American videos and what their real opinion is, because they don't really believe in anything. I'll give you an example of a progression that I've watched, because the dude was entertaining for a little while, but I can't watch him anymore because he's a fraud. So he starts off doing a series of videos about American culture. He started off in Europe, but he moved to America, and we'll get to that in a moment. And 1 week is a bunch of videos about inflation, the cost of living, and how it's impossible for the younger generation to succeed in the United States. This is going to be followed by videos about people with $1,200 car payments. I said, seriously, man, did people actually have, I don't know who my audience is really, but I couldn't believe it when I heard that. I've owned several homes, man, and most of them, my mortgage has been under $1,000. So I don't even, you know, $1,200 for a car payment. What the fuck? So you see the contradiction there. Then that's followed by a video about how they can't afford housing, and then that's followed by a video about how that generation sucks, and then that's followed by a video about how the administration sucks, about how the country sucks. All the while, dude was in a foreign country. He's getting some kind of military disability money. I'm probably pretty certain of that. Most veterans do. And so that's one thing he's getting from the United States, and the ability at his young age to enjoy a buffered lifestyle because he has a little bit of cushion with VA money. So he marries a foreigner. Then they move to the United States, not just him, but extended family. So they move to the United States, they buy a car, they buy a house, and then commence these videos about how bad it sucks. Well, what are you doing there, bro? You went back there. I know, because it's just obvious, really. But, sorry, buddy, did I scare you? He's back there so everybody could get U.S. documents. He was able to buy a car, a house, secure a good job, live a good life. He's living a good life. But yet, that's not making money. Somebody coming on and making a video about how good things are, that's rarely. I get it, the dudes that are hey-ho, howdy, and cheerful, they get more views and subscriptions. But again, I'm not doing this for money. I do this kind of show my kids what I'm doing and kind of just to voice my opinion for anyone who gives a shit. And maybe, just like me, maybe you could learn something. Because I think I learned something from just about everybody that I meet. So, if you just listen, sometimes they're passing wisdom without knowing it. So anyway, it just kind of annoys me, you know, because I'm not a fan either, okay? I don't fit into American culture, but when I needed to, when I was raised in a family, when they needed shelter, when we needed health insurance, when I needed to, I figured it out, man. And so did everybody else I know. Didn't end up under a bridge or crying. I think a lot of what's going on today is the youngest generation doesn't really know what it's like to be without, you know? And I'm not bragging. I don't want to sound like grandpa, because everybody that gets old says the same shit, right? But I used to play in the woods with sticks. Yeah. And was happy running around in the woods playing with sticks. Happy. Turning over rocks. Seeing could we find a snake or a salamander. And then sometimes smashing each other on the head with rocks. We'd have like build a fort and then have a war. And you try to take the fort by throwing rocks at me and sticks. Right? Check these things out. I'm scaring them. So, we were content. And so I think people want too much. If you got a $1,200 payment, man, you're trying to bite off more than you can swallow, bro. You know? People that, if you want a car like that, you buy it. If you can't buy it, and you have to pay $1,200 a month, you're not supposed to have the car. So I don't, so right there is exemplar of my argument. The second thing is, on another video, I talked about the formula. It's not a magic formula. It works everywhere in the world. You don't need ideas, but it's effort plus risk equals reward. The higher the effort combined with the higher risk is the possibility of the highest reward. You could be an electrician working for ABC Electric Company, making $50 an hour, and you might be happy about that. You know, you're pulling in 125 a year or whatever, and you're providing a life, and you don't want the added complications of anything else. Or you can increase the risk quotient, get your own truck, put an advertisement out there, and try to do it yourself. So, and the reward part of the equation will be astronomical if you chose to take that risk. Or you could end up back at ABC Electrical with your tail tucked between your legs, having failed, right? So, but effort plus risk equals reward. And that's true anywhere. If you put yourself in an environment where that's not true, you put yourself in the wrong environment. You know? And that's okay too if you want to do that. I had government jobs, these soul-sucking administrative jobs that good people retire from them. Government's one of the few places that provide a pension. Hard to get fired after a certain amount of tenure. Not a whole lot of expected in you. And I'm not saying that across the board. There's some governmental agencies in which there are people that do nothing, and there's some that just, they don't have enough people and they're just struggling. And they're working really hard. So, but the point being is, if you're happy with that, you still got to put effort in and try to get to a rank that's provides you with a comfortable income without causing too much stress for yourself, or if you're risk averse, without taking too many chances. Although I've seen people in leadership positions that didn't take chances. They're careerists is what I call them. But anyway, that formula still applies today. It's just not the same path that grandpa or dad walked on, right? So maybe you're not going to get the same return of just dollar cost averaging in the stock market the way grandpa did. All he had to do is just put, X amount of dollars in every month, and when he retired, he had a bunch of money. Today it's a little more volatile. You actually had to be involved. You had to be active trader. At least I do. And anyway, so that's one example of how things change and how you have to change the way that you do it. But the basic formula is the same. I think I've made a wrong turn. And I think Gen Z doesn't realize that, man. They're just jealous. They want profits to be shared. I do too. Here's an example of how I've changed since I was a young man. And I'm not a communist by any means. But I don't think there should be anything like a billionaire. Because then they have too much power. Somebody like Bezos or what's the other clown? Musk. I was about to say Bezos probably has, Trump's cell phone number, right? But fucking Musk is sitting right there in the, he's got his kid on his lap. He's right there in the Oval Office, man. So that's what happens when you let someone become too wealthy. And you say, well, that's anti-capitalist. That's not fair. There should be no limit. But the power that comes with it is ridiculous and dangerous. It's fucking dangerous, man. And I'm not going to go down a big rabbit hole about the different ways and how that's dangerous. You'll see. But it is. And on the same side of the equation is that somebody like Google, for example, every time you pick up your phone, or Apple, if you pick up your Android or your Apple phone, every time you search for something, you are contributing to Google's ability to create revenue. They're making money off the information that they're gathering from you. And so essentially, they're making money from you. Okay, they're providing you with a service per se, but they're making money from you without providing a return. Same thing with the people that work for Google. So if you're making enough money where you're putting rockets into space just for shits and giggles, and NASA can't recover fucking astronauts up at the space station for 9 months, something's askew, right? And we need to fix that situation. And he needs to give back to the country, to the people that made him able to build a penis-shaped rocket, fill it with women, and blast it into fucking space just for shits and giggles, right? But he can't give back to the country that, you know, I don't know. I had an apartment for a short time in the United States. The lobby, I had to step over packages. It was just like every day was like Christmas. This is nothing but fucking Amazon packages. Which ties into the last topic that I was talking about, where you know, kids having a hard time making it today. Who the fuck's buying all those packages? I mean, I don't know. It was a long time in life before I started to accumulate crap where I just started buying shit for the sake of buying something. But it was a long time in life before I reached that point. But apparently, it starts from birth now or something. I don't know. So the consumerism is probably key to your issues. Stay on that consumerism for a minute. I know it's tangential, but that's what the deal is. That's the channel, man. It's walk and talk. You get to check out the mangrove park. I guess people like it with just the video and no talking. If I was trying to make money, I'd probably go that way. But it's walk and talk. Okay. And here, hold on, sweetie. Hold on. Okay, go. So, girlfriend's got to go to the bathroom. So, the consumerism, yeah. And that's probably part of the problem. You know, the things my father had, my father's a silent generation. And that's another topic, Zandra, that I've seen on YouTube, the boomer haters. I'm not a boomer, and I've had some people comment to me on my comments, you know, fuck off and die, boomer, or this and that. I don't know, I guess that's the Gen Z insult or whatever, you know. Classic psychology, man. You're biting the hand that feeds you. Same thing with the dude I talked about doing all the anti-American videos. He hates Trump, he hates the United States. I don't give a fuck about the politics anymore. You're talking about shit that you can't control, right? But yeah, just bullshitters, all of them, everybody. And all for money, and people are eating it up hook, line, and sinker. Yeah. Materialism. I kind of like in Thailand, it's a little more simple. I don't have a lot of stuff here. And people generally don't have a lot of stuff. I don't have any food, fellas. I got nothing. Sorry. And people just don't have as much. I live in a studio apartment. It's getting kind of small, man, let me tell you. And but I'm gonna get a great big place in Greece. The apartments are awesome there. They're like a whole floor, and it's like having a house, condo more than an apartment, huh? So there's less materialism. One of the things recently that I started to contemplate is just like where I fit in with everybody, and like how a lot of people, including family, just don't understand my mentality. I used to spend a lot of time being involved. When I needed to, I put forth the effort. Uh, there's very few jobs I had which I enjoyed. Like woke up in the morning, couldn't wait to get at it. And I used to get upset about politics and all kinds of different things, man. That really, I think, is a ruse. It's a trap that they make to confuse people, to keep people divided, to keep people misinformed, to keep people concerned about shit that's going to impede their ability to make progress in their own lives. And it truly is stuff that is out of my control. It's not that I don't care, it's that I don't have a say in it. And so at best, I'm a spectator. Not at best, you know. In reality, I'm just a spectator, as are you. And at the best case scenario is I'm not paying attention to it and it really doesn't matter. Because it doesn't. It doesn't. And very few revolutions for people that like to get in the street. I'm about to move back to Greece, man. They're quick. They're quick to get in the street. The birthplace of democracy, that's what democracy looks like, man. And they're fast to get out in the street, show their disdain for whatever is going on at the time, whatever the subject might be. But it happens quite frequently. But very few revolutions actually work, man. And so for those people that you're out in the street, so maybe Antifa, maybe the pro-Palestinian, maybe whatever, militant LGBTQI, whatever, very few revolutions work. One of the things that you might have forgotten about, you were taught in history, is our country is one example of a revolution that worked. Those revolutions make the history books because something came of it. After many, many people died and many lives were destroyed, a little piece of American history, every single person who signed the Declaration of Independence was absolutely destroyed. Financially, plantations burnt down, family members killed, everything. French Revolution, same way, man. A lot of people had to die, a lot of bloodshed. Just ridiculous. Most fail. Most are crushed. You don't really hear the names. You die as a political prisoner. Nobody cares. It's wiped out of history. That's how 99% of uprisings go. So I watch these things, say, in the United States, and I realize that people have no idea of what's in their purview, no idea how to use their energy, no idea about how to kind of focus on your sphere of influence, man, right? Maybe just focus on your family and don't worry about the car accident in Texas that killed 5 people. Why you gotta hear that over breakfast in the morning? Turn that shit off. What do you need to know? Is there something you can do? Can you take it back? Go to the chicken. Play at the top. Comes out. Get on camera. Nice lady. Same thing, you know, you hear about like India threw missiles into Pakistan, this and that. Can you do anything about it? Why watch it? Why worry about it? Not that I don't care. See, people confuse that. You're heartless. Perhaps. I'm a little bit jaded, man. I'm a little bit short on the emotion side. But that's just how it is, man. Got to accept yourself for how you are. If you don't like something, change it. I can't change that aspect of myself. I see what I see, and that's what I've seen. So, fighting, infighting, divisions, political shit. Y'all even fight about what football team, right? Americans are quarrelsome. I remember fighting people because of music. Oh, you don't like that band? I don't like that music. Oh, the next thing you know, I'm getting punched in the face. Yeah, Americans are quarrelsome. So that's my babble for today. I'm home. I'm gonna go upstairs, have some fruit. It's gotten hot now. Be good to each other, and try to think about the kind of things that you're expending your energy on, what you're getting mad about, how you're spending your time, what you're consuming, and just focus on the things that you have immediate control of, and I guarantee you your life will improve. Try to do that. Be well.